All right, we now bring you an exclusive interview with one of Israel's most important and influential leaders, Minister Naftali Bennett. A man of many hats, Bennett serves as Israel's Minister of Education as well as its Minister of Diaspora Affairs. And on top of that, he's also the leader of the Jewish Home Party, one of the most critical members of the current coalition. ILTV's Brett Allen Smith brings us this exclusive one-on-one.
I can only imagine how busy you are today. Thank you so much. I can't believe you're not out partying right now and you're here with us doing this interview. Naftali Bennett, so you're the head of Diaspora Affairs, you're the education minister. Obviously, it's pretty safe to say that you have a very central role in shaping the country. So my question is, today is Israel's 70th birthday, and Israel is a country that has come very far and achieved a lot in a relatively short amount of time. So how did Israel get here in such a short amount of time?
Well, I think it's something in the Israeli ethos, which combines the ancient Jewish tradition of thought, of debate, and together with the entrepreneurship ethos of Israel, of getting things done in the IDF. When I was fairly young, I think I was 22, I had already been commanding a company as a captain in the military. So Israelis at a relatively young age get extraordinary responsibilities, so it sort of expands your abilities, and that's what takes Israel forward.
Where do you think the country will be 70 years from now?
Well, I think Israel's on a very good path. What I would want to see is many more Jews make Aliyah, come to Israel. This is the Jewish home. I'd want to see stronger relationships between Israel and Jews across the world, and Israel and its friends, its non-Jewish friends. I'd want to see a very strong Israel, ultimately where our enemies would give up on trying to destroy us. I think at some point when they realize it's so futile, it's not going anywhere, and we're here to stay, they'll come to terms with Israel, and then there can be peace.
Well, I also understand that this Thursday is the Israel Prize ceremony, correct?
That's right.
Right, and you're going to kind of MC that, right?
Yeah.
So what can we expect to see? What's that going to be like?
The Israel Prize is the highest prize in Israel for achievement. This year we have people like Natan Sharansky, who was a prisoner of Zion. We have Miriam Peretz, who's a great educator, but she lost two of her boys in war. We have David Levy, who really brought the Sephardi community up into recognition and dignity here in Israel. We have David Grossman, a famous book writer. So you really have, all colors, all shades. It's going to be very festive.
Sure. I want to talk about education also. I mean, that's obviously something you're hugely passionate about and have a pretty big hand in. What kind of reforms do you have planned for the near future in the Israeli education?
Our biggest effort right now is in science, math, technology, and what's called STEM. And we are dramatically ramping up the strength of students in the periphery, in the Galilee, in the Negev, in remote areas, to have access to the best education possible. Second thing that we need to be doing, and we're doing, is injecting some of the startup nation magic into the education system, entrepreneurship, innovation, because ultimately we need to prepare our kids for a very different future than one we have right now.
It's funny because I went to public school in the United States, and one thing that's, I think, interesting for Americans to see is that there isn't as much separation of church and state in Israel, because here religious studies and Jewish studies and Torah studies are fundamental. That's a core part of the education. I mean, for that reason, Israeli schools have faced some criticism in the past for blurring that line. Why doesn't Israel make that same distinction between church versus state in the same way that the United States does?
Well, that's because uniquely Judaism is both a nation and a religion, and therefore, if you're Jewish, that's your religion, but it's also the nation you belong to. My approach is I don't want to force religion on anyone. I do want every boy and girl in Israel to know their heritage, to know what the Bible is about, to know what Sabbath is about. I don't want to coerce anyone into performing any mitzvahs or anything of that sort. I don't believe in coercion of any form, but I do believe that that's so fundamental in our history, in our heritage, in our destiny, that every boy and girl needs to know that.
You know, on one hand, certainly on a political level, you could say the ties between Israel and the United States has certainly never been stronger, and given the latest U.S.-led strikes in Syria, perhaps never more important than it is today. At the same time, many feel that the relationship between American Jews and Israel has never been weaker. So my question is, what can or should Israel do to keep that strength?
I view this as one of the biggest challenges of our generation. How do we retain the deep bond and connection between Jews in the diaspora and the Israelis? We've always had this relationship for thousands of years between Jews in Israel and Jews outside of Israel. But I think in this particular generation, where the memory of the Shoah is not firsthand anymore, and sort of the story of the establishment of Israel is 70 years old already, we need to get the younger folks involved, excited about being connected to Israel. That's why we do Birthright. That's why we do Masa. That's why we do stuff on campus. But I think we need to do more.
Okay, last question, because I know you have to get going. What would you say to young American Jews who do feel alienated when they see that Israel may not be doing what they believe upholds their own Jewish values? What do you say to that Jewish American who feels alienated from Israeli policies as a government?
First of all, I'd say come and visit. Come see Israel. Don't believe what's on TV. Come and see it for yourself, and you'll see a remarkable country. Not a perfect country. We're not perfect, but we try to be perfect. And it's tough. We are located, we don't have Canada and Mexico as our neighbors. We have Hezbollah, Hamas, Iran, Iranian proxies, ISIS on our borders. So it's tough. Yet we remain a vibrant democracy. And secondly, I just would want them to know that whatever happens, in any outcome, any event, we're brothers. And there is a country here always waiting for any Jew. You know, never again will a Jew be persecuted and not have somewhere to go to.
Well, on that note, I just want to thank you again so much.
Thank you so much.
Happy Independence Day.
You take care.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks so much.